Hello again everyone from Tokyo, Japan. Welcome back to Two Wheels in Tokyo, where today I'm going to be sharing with you my latest bike build. Not that I build a whole lot of bikes, I kind of build them as I need them, which means once every couple of years or so I put together another bike. This bike was something of an accidental build, and I'll describe what I mean by that a little bit later in the video. This bike is one that you're not likely to see very many of, if you ever see one at all. This bike is a GT. Of course, there's nothing unusual about the brand GT. They've been making bikes for more than 40 years now. But this particular model is the GT Zizang or Xizang. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to pronounce that, but back in the day, it was known as the Zang. And the GT Zang was GT's team issue race bike for its mountain bike racing team, and it was ridden to a number of victories by the sport's top riders in the early 1990s, and ridden to a number of championships as well. It was a handmade titanium frame bicycle made in very limited numbers, and if you're really lucky you can come across a frame now and again on eBay. Not many of them were made, and as I say, they're rare as hen's teeth nowadays. But thankfully, back in 2012, GT reissued the Xizang, or I'll just call it the Zang for the rest of the video, because I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, and yeah, I can't go wrong by using the simplest way to say it. But in 2012 and 2013, GT sold a number of these frames on the market, and the retail price at the time was $2,200, which was $2,200 in 2012 is worth a lot more than $2,200 today. So that gives you an idea of the quality level of these frames. Now, unlike the first Zangs, which were built in the early 1990s and handmade in America, the later version was made at GT's factory in Taiwan. But by 2012 in Taiwan, they were producing some really high quality bicycles. And when I look at the fit and finish and the welds on this bike, I can see that it's a really wonderful high quality machine. And another thing about this bike is it's very light. This bike here weighs 8.5 kilograms, which is quite a light bike for mountain bike standards. And that has to do with, of course, the titanium frame and the carbon fork, and also the mix of components I chose for this bike. Now, the reason this was an accidental build was because I wasn't actually looking for a bike frame or to put together another bike. I was trying to find some parts for my GT grade carbon. I misplaced the expander bolt for the carbon fiber fork and couldn't find it anywhere, so I was hunting around online for a replacement, and I came across this frame for sale, and I couldn't beat the price. The price was 80,000 yen, or about $550, and for a brand new titanium GT Zizang frame, it was just too good of a deal to pass up. Another reason that I decided to put it together is that I already had most of the parts, because I was going to put together another project which ended up falling through because when I received the frame that I was going to build up, it turned out to be junk. So I sent the frame back and still had all the parts available. But when this frame came up, I said, this looks like it'll be a good project and something which I can use. And I've been using this bike for the past couple of weeks to commute around town, and that's why I've got it fitted with a headlight and tail light. The Japanese police are very picky about riding a bike around at night without lights, and I often find that this is the bike when I'm going out when I need to do something in the evening. And it's a really wonderful bike. I love riding it. So I'll show you what I put together the bike with, the components I used. And I was planning to build up a rather high-end bike, the original project I was working on, so I chose mostly the high-end parts which I could find, stuff which I actually found quite cheaply by hunting around on the internet auction sites here in Japan. What I decided to go with on this bike was the Shimano XTR 9000 driveline, and this bike has got a 2x11 configuration. I would have preferred a 1x12 setup, but unfortunately with the 11 speed, the rear cassette options are limited, and the biggest I could get was a 46 tooth cassette. So if I'm going to be maxed out at 46 teeth, if I run a 2x setup with a smaller front chainring, then it's quite adequate for the climbing I intended to do with this bike. And also the bigger chainring in the front gives me some more top end for going more quickly on level ground and on descents. The XTR rear cassettes are a little bit scarce. So this one is kind of a mix of XT and XTR, and because I really wanted the 46 tooth cassette instead of the 41, which I believe was the max I could get with 41 or 42 with the XTR. And of course I have XTR shifters on the front. I've got the 9000 series here, which is a double lever system, and then I've got the later series 9200 series for the front chainring, which just uses a single lever. You push or pull to shift up or down. It makes it lighter and less complicated, and I really like the way it works. The carbon fiber fork is just an inexpensive one, which I picked up on Amazon because I needed a fork, and I had a suspension fork which fit on the bike, but it was really heavy and clunky and the lockout didn't work. And so I ended up buying this one. I think I paid like $80 for it, so it wasn't really a big, that's the cheapest thing on the bike is the fork. The brakes are the Magura MT7 hydraulic disc brakes with the 4 piston calipers, and these are XTR rotors and XTR hubs, and these are mounted to the 29-inch XTR wheels. XTR wheels are kind of funny. These look like carbon fiber, but what they are is actually a very thin aluminum with carbon fiber reinforcement around them. They're quite light, quite durable, and very suitable for rough use. And what's more, I was able to get them to fit on this frame. One of the drawbacks of this 2012 frame is that it doesn't have boost spacing. The rear axle spacing is 135 millimeters. And of course, most mountain bike wheels today are 148, the boost size, or 142. So in order to fit a wheel or rear wheel to this bike, you either have to machine down 142 axles or find a set of wheels which are available with 135 millimeter axles. Now these wheels, when I got them, the rear wheel was a 142 spacing, but I found out I was able to get from Shimano a 135 millimeter axle, and so all I had to do was replace the inner axle assembly and it fit on the bike, and it works perfectly well. One thing which I don't like so much is this front derailleur system. This is a Shimano side pull, which I don't have a cable routing system down the front of the down tube. They run around the top, and if I'm running the cables down that way, I kind of have to loop it around like that way. It's not very clean, but it works, and the bike shifts beautifully as you would expect the XTR driveline to shift. This seat post here is actually a Brompton seat post. This is a titanium seat post, and it fits perfectly in the frame. I had this for my Brompton, and I ended up ordering one from Amazon, and it got lost in shipping for my wife's Brompton, and so they refunded my payment. I ordered a second one, and then the second one arrived, and then a few weeks later the one I originally ordered arrived, so I ended up getting 2 for the price of 1. And of course I have it fitted with a Brooks B17 saddle, which is what I run on all of my bikes. And on the front here I have a Ritchie Coyote bar and a Renthal stem. And as I said, the entire weight for this bike comes out to 8.5 kilograms, including these pedals. These are Cactus mountain bike flat pedals with titanium spindles and magnesium bodies, so a very lightweight system. I could shave a fair amount of weight off this bike if I were to go with a 1x system, and I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of engineering and a little bit of machining. I can fit on something different on the back and eventually move this to a 1x12. With Shimano, that means a micro spline hub and all that stuff. But in the meantime, it works quite fine. I may just keep this bike the way it is. Now, once I got the bike together, I was comparing it with my GT Carbon Grade, and I was beginning to wonder which would be the better choice for the Tour Divide next year. Now, I had put together the Grade Carbon for that adventure because it's a really lightweight bike. It's well made. I like the triple triangle system with I guess the pseudo rear suspension, 30 millimeters of travel, which it has in the back, and with the 40 millimeter Rudy fork. It's really wonderful for washboard conditions and things like that. But on the other hand, titanium is more durable than carbon fiber, And this bike has more tire clearance, and I can easily swap on a suspension fork on the front of this to kind of soak up the bumps in the washboard. So I'm still kind of in the air on which bike I will eventually use. I'll probably still use the grade carbon because that was the reason I put together that bike. And I'll just continue to use this one for riding around town, and and also people who come out to visit from time to time. If we go riding, at least I have an extra bike for them to tool around on. Anyway, it's getting late and I got to go and check on my daughter and make sure she's doing her homework. If ever I go out the door, she starts playing Roblox or something like that, so I've got to keep my eye on her. So I'm going to go and check and see what she's doing. I hope you liked the video. I plan to do some more in the future. I've got another one coming up soon. If I haven't put it up before this one, a ride which I did around Omotesando in Shibuya here in Tokyo. If you haven't seen that one yet, it's a really good video. I really recommend it. It's a good view of what Tokyo is like in the middle of Saturday afternoon. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you tune in again soon.